Peter Pan syndrome is a pop psychology term coined in the 1980s to describe men who never really grew up, or as some mused in the day, all men. I'm Larry Fedorik, and this is Later That Same Life. On each episode of my weekly podcast, a different topic, discussion, or story from our lives.
Season 16, Chapter 4,
Hot Wheels
and
Matchbox.
I have about 600 Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars and trucks. I don't really share that ridiculous nugget of information that much in, say, social situations. But if it comes up, I tell people I'm a collector. It's a hobby. That seems to satisfy the curiosity of most adults, wondering why a grown man has 600 Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. Sometimes I even convince myself that I'm a hobbyist collector. The real reason, the truth, is that I'm 12 years old. I guess I suffer from Peter Pan syndrome, at least in this area. Outside of a penchant for toy cars, I believe I'm an adult. I practice adulting. I show responsibility and observe most of the explicit and implicit social contracts issued by society. That's a grown-up, right? I am a grown-up most of the time, unless I'm in a store that sells Hot Wheels or Matchbox toys. Other adults are shopping for appliances, bedding, or in the gardening section. I'm in the toy department, Hot Wheels aisle. In my defense, I can cite many adults who engage in childhood activity on a regular basis. They collect Barbie dolls. They build Lego. They have train sets. They play pickup hockey twice a week. Or they join a softball team. Adults playing games, engaging in kids' stuff. Peter Pan syndrome is not a real thing. As I said, it's pop psychology, a fun jab at the immaturity of men. Psychologist Dr. Dan Kiley coined the term with his book Peter Pan Syndrome in 1983. I'm sure most people get the reference. Author J.M. Barrie created the Peter Pan character in the mid-1800s. He was a boy from Neverland who refused to grow up. As a matter of fact, Peter Pan has maintained his youth throughout the decades, thanks mainly to Broadway plays and Disney movies. For over 100 years, and long before Dr. Kiley's book of 1983, Peter Pan was the metaphor for youth, for growing up, for keeping alive that kid inside us all.
We are magical, so magical, our weight's in gold, and we will never grow old.
If you remember, Peter Pan takes the darling kids to Neverland, but eventually they have to come home and grow up. So overall, though I occasionally exhibit symptoms of Peter Pan syndrome, like many of us, I think I grew up. You know, I sure seem to be spending a lot of time defending the fact that I have 600 Hot Wheels and Matchbox toys. Yes, I guess I am. And well, about that. It all started about 10 years ago, very innocently. First of all, toy cars were absolutely my favorite toy as a child. I had other toys. I was a lucky kid. I had a hockey set, board games, a wagon, a bicycle, a ball glove. As I got older, I got a BB gun and a microscope set. But at the top of every Christmas and birthday wish list was a toy car. We used to drive to the city on a regular basis to go shopping. And often that would mean Larry would get a treat. What would you like on this trip, Larry? How about a new toy car? But you have lots of toy cars. Yes, but not enough. It's always amused me that in the memory of playing with my toy cars, scale didn't matter. Like Matchbox and Hot Wheels are generally 1/64 scale. When I buy the toys now, I look for the 1/64 scale. But as a kid, you really didn't have that luxury. You took whatever you got. But imagination trumped scale every time. As a kid, if I'm playing cars for that Saturday, I would drive my Matchbox Oldsmobile to the construction site where my job was operating the Tonka dump truck. Tonka was like 118. I had a 132 scale John Deere tractor, and occasionally that tractor would have to pull the dinky toy school bus out of the ditch. When I was done my dump truck duties, back in the Oldsmobile to drive home for supper. In the mind of an 8-year-old, you worked out all the scale stuff. Vehicles, cars, the toy of choice. It's odd, actually, that as an adult I never really became a car guy. I mean, I like cars. I own some cool cars. Always appreciated cars. Loved going to the car show. But otherwise, not really a car guy. You know, when I got a new car, I'd have to read the manual just to find out where the gas went in. But toy cars? Loved them. Then one day, about 10 years ago, I'm in a stationery store. I think I'm buying a wall calendar for my home office. And sitting there next to the cash register is, by the way, wall calendars and cash registers. Sounds like it was the 1950s. It wasn't. It was only about 10 years ago. Sitting there by the cash register, not even in a box, was a Matchbox-sized 1955 Chevy, almost identical to a car that my older cousin had when I was a kid. It was his first car, and we used to drive around town in it. That was huge, because as a kid growing up in a small town, you hung out with all your friends, you rode your bikes, or you walked everywhere. But if you had wheels, man, access to a car, suddenly you were like, cool, older, driving around town. So I'm looking at this toy car, and I'm like, boy, this would be a cool thing to have. Just have it on my desk at home. It's like a little paperweight or a ornament, a decoration, something. You know, the memories. How much is this thing? It's $3. Yeah, I'll take it. And so it was. It sat on my desk, reminding me of those good old days, cruising Main Street out with my cousin. A full year goes by, and I'm in the same store. Guess I needed a new wall calendar. And right there at the cash register, not even in a box, is a Matchbox-sized 1963 Corvette Stingray convertible, red and white, just like the one from that TV show I used to watch called Route 66. I always loved that car. How much is this? $3. I'll take it. So now I have two cars on my desk. Memories of my cousin and of that TV show that made me want to have a cool Corvette sports car. Just spend all of my time traveling around the country, going on adventures. So I have those two cars on my desk for like a whole other year. A whole year of cruising Main Street in the old Chevy and crisscrossing the nation in the Corvette. And then one day I'm staring at the toys, and what I remember is that as a kid, how much I loved cars. Toy cars. Remember in your childhood, Larry, you always wanted more toy cars?
But you have lots of toy cars. Yes, but not enough.
And it struck me, Larry, you're grown up now. Your kids are grown up now. You have a good job. Disposable income. And yeah, Mom is still alive. She's almost 90. But you don't even have to call her to ask if you can get a new toy car.
Mom, can I get a new car? I've been good. If you buy me that new toy car, you don't even have to buy me anything for my birthday. I just want that new car now. Come on.
So, no, I'm an adult. I can just go out and buy some new toy cars. All on my own. What a revelation. Now the adult in me cuts in, and it says, you know, you don't have to go out and buy 1,000 of them, and don't buy the really expensive collectibles. Just, go over to Walmart and buy some cool new toy cars. And that's what I did. At the time, most of the Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars were like $1 a piece. I bought like 10. And then one day I noticed, oh wow, the dollar store also carries them. So I bought 8 more. Now it's a collection. And that's how it went. 5 here, 10 there. I still do that, not as much as I used to. But yeah, I somehow, over the years, got up to 600 Hot Wheels and Matchbox. 90% of my collection was purchased at Walmart or the dollar store for $1 or $2 each. It's kind of a little rule that I keep. It has to be $1 or $2 at Walmart or the dollar store. The other rule I have is that it has to be a car or truck that one would easily see on the street. You know, they have those super funky Hot Wheels with pink wheels and stuff, and Well, I have a few of those too, but generally I like the cars and trucks that you would just see around town. A Toyota, a Volvo, an F-150 pickup. I've broken the price rule a few times. Walmart also sold a series called Detroit Muscle, and they were 1/64 scale cars, but they were much heavier. They were a higher quality toy. Sometimes the doors and trunks and the hood would open. Those were $5 to $10 each, depending. Then I found a series of 1/64 toys by a company called Greenlight. Greenlight specializes in TV and movie vehicles. So I have MacGyver's Pontiac, I have the Cadillac limo from The Godfather, the Mustang from Bullitt, the family truckster from National Lampoon's Vacation. I also have Eddie's RV from Christmas Vacation, and the RV Drug Lab from Breaking Bad, among others. Those can be $10 and more. Sometimes I would just order them from Amazon. Got to be careful of those, because you could go broke fast buying all the Greenlight collectibles. In West End Toronto, near where I live, there's a place called Dixie Value Mall. They have a full-time flea market downstairs. It's like a magical bargain basement down there. I love it. One of the vendors deals in Hot Wheels and 1/64 scale vehicles. He's got a fantastic collection. Very expensive, real collectibles. I've bought a couple of things there as well, but generally I stick with Dollarama and Walmart. And here's why I'm not really a collector. I'm just a kid pretending to be an adult. And this is going to drive the real collectors crazy. When I get some new cars, regardless of the source or the price, first thing I do is open them up and play with them. Not for hours at a time like I did when I was a kid, but for a few minutes. Yeah, I rip open and remove all the packaging, and I roll the cars around my desk for a bit. This completely devalues a collectible. And I don't care. In this area, I am 12. Imagine giving a 12-year-old a new toy car, but he's not allowed to open it and not allowed to play with it. Well, not me. Not this adult. This adult is letting this kid play with the new toys. After playing around with them, I line them up on my desk and let them sit there for about a week or two, and then I put them away. When I buy some new ones, I just repeat the process. I think at 600, I'm about maxed out. Like, I'm not trying to reach 1,000 or anything. Then again, when I hit 100, I thought that was enough. And when I hit 200, I went, okay, that's done. 250 tops, 300, and I'm stopping. I used to make pilgrimages. I would schedule times to go to Walmart or Dollarama to look at the toy cars, see if there's anything new, anything that I liked. These days, I don't do that anymore. If I happen to be in the store for other reasons, I will go down that aisle. So over the last couple of years, I'm buying a lot less. And at that number, there's too many to just really put on display. Even if I had enough massive display cases, I think that might actually look cool to have. Walls full of shelves with toy cars. But I don't really have the room for that. So after the desk time, I basically put them away in storage bins. One of these days when I have the time, I will take them all out and take this massive picture. When I had only a couple hundred, I did take them out and I put them on a table and I took a pic there. And in one summer, just for fun, I recreated kind of a lakeside campsite on the dining room table. I bought some props and I went out in nature and just collected some little stones and twigs and things. And then I took a bunch of vehicles that I owned that looked like they would belong at a campsite. And I made kind of a little diorama or whatever you might call it, little scene. Took some pictures of that. If you're listening to this podcast on my YouTube channel, you'll see those pictures. I bought an old racing set at a garage sale for $1 one time. And the only reason I bought it was because it had this gray snapped-together track that looked like highway, had a yellow line in the middle and all that stuff. And I used that roadway to take some pictures of my cool cars. That was me playing. One thing I've never done, or don't plan to do, is to buy some actual Hot Wheels track, with the loop-de-loops and all that, and play with them that way. No. I've been seeing a lot of online posts where people buy all kinds of props, small model buildings and trees and things like that, and then they recreate the scenes using their toy cars. To me, that looks like it would be a fun hobby. But then again, I know from building that holiday lakeside scene that it can be very time-consuming and expensive. I don't have the time, the inclination, or the space to pursue that. I don't really catalog any of them, except for keeping track of the number. Generally speaking, when I see a Hot Wheels or a Matchbox in the store, I can remember if I have it or not. Memory is pretty good there. I only have maybe 2 or 3 duplicates. And I've done this, and you can go online and find some really cool ones. These are generally dozens or even hundreds of dollars. I refuse to go that route. You know, even if I had a lottery win, the spirit of my collection is keeping it at a reasonable price per unit. Matchbox originated in the UK circa 1950. The die-cast metal cars, vans, and trucks were made specifically to replicate real-life vehicles. Matchbox and the die-cast metal dinky toys, they were the desired toy cars and trucks for decades. Then in 1968, Mattel, which by the way now owns Matchbox, introduced Hot Wheels.
They're the fastest metal cars you've ever seen. Mattel's new Hot Wheels. Collect them by themselves or get them in wild new action sets, like the drag race action set, the stunt action set, the Hot Curves race action set. Get Mattel's new Hot Wheels, the fastest metal cars you've ever seen.
As Matchbox were replications of everyday, typical street vehicles, Hot Wheels were mostly colorful, souped-up hot rods, California cruising cars, race cars, and so forth. They were the flashy alternative to the staid Matchbox collection. Hot Wheels sold like hotcakes. Today, at the stores that I go to, Matchbox and Hot Wheels are generally sold side by side. Hot Wheels does make some real-looking vehicles, but mostly they sell the real out-there outrageous cruising cars. Matchbox still the true-to-life replicas.
Matchbox announces 10 cars America has been waiting for.
We're looking for a family car that's sporty enough for me, yet practical for me. I need a car that's built the way I use it. Tough.
Like every Matchbox car, each of our 78s has a sticker price of about $1. No matter who you are, Matchbox has the car that says you.
I want a car that lets me express the real me.
As I mentioned, all the dollar cars are generally about $2 now. That's still not bad at Walmart or the dollar store. The dollar store, where nothing is just $1 anymore. Hot Wheels are manufactured mainly in Malaysia and Matchbox in China. Both die-cast brands use steel and aluminum, so it's difficult to determine how much these trade tariffs are going to affect the price of those imports. My collection of 600, I would say, is about evenly distributed between Matchbox and Hot Wheels. Meanwhile, Hot Wheels alone introduces about 152 variations each year. There's about 20,000 different models of Hot Wheels that exist, making a complete collection almost impossible. First ever Hot Wheel was a 1968 custom Chevy Camaro. The world's top automakers manufacture between 80 and 90 million new cars each year. Hot Wheels produces 500 million cars annually. Matchbox, at its peak, produced about 1 million cars a day. Why do you think Matchbox and Hot Wheels sell more cars than General Motors, Toyota, and Volkswagen? What do you think it is? Who knows, huh? Price point? Legroom? Fuel efficiency? I sometimes wonder what will happen to my automotive empire. You know, when it's my turn to go to Neverland, because apparently you can't take it with you. Like I said, kids are grown. There's no grandkids, but hopefully the cars and trucks would be enjoyed again by some kid somewhere. Perhaps even one disguised as an adult.
Later That Same Life is written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. LarryFedoruk37 at gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's podcast YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.